Hey guys, welcome to episode 4 of the podcast titled Dinner in Zhouzhuang. Dinner in Zhouzhuang is the name of a short prose poem I had published both in my poetry pamphlet that came out last year and on an online website that promotes creative work in 2018. I think it was first published. I think it's best if I just read the work and then maybe briefly talk about its publication history. Dinner in Zhouzhuang by Aaron Lembo. They were both tired and hungry. She wore a pink skirt and a black blouse. He wore cream chinos, a navy polo and a grey flat cap hat. After a day full of visiting lotus gardens and pagodas, they decided to eat at a restaurant beside one of the city's many canals. Once they were seated, they ordered a pot of jasmine tea and 2 bottles of the local beer. They each studied the wooden menu in their own peculiar way. Her eyes darted from picture to picture, praying to find the meatless dish. He glanced first at the pinyin and then at the characters. His eyes eventually settled on a square image of choi and seabass. A young waiter hurried over with their drinks, eager to practice his English. Without having time to discuss what they were going to choose, they found themselves pointing at various pictures and speaking in a horrible accent. Laughing at the speed of the service and the uncertainty of their order, they poured themselves some tea and drank from their bottles of beer. Seconds later, the waiter walked up to them again and waved. He urged the male foreign customer to stand and follow him. After a brief walk to the front of the store, the waiter halted. He pointed to a water tank full of seabass. The foreigner was shocked at how little room the fish had to swim. He took a moment to look at his surroundings. A chef stood outside the kitchen, stroking his patchy white beard. An elderly woman customer stopped dead, waiting to see how the foreigner might react. He pointed without too much thought and chose the fish he would eat. The chef and elderly woman seemed disappointed in this perceived nonchalance. The young waiter let out a nervous laugh. When the man returned to his seat, he explained how he had condemned the fish to its death. His lover placed her hand over her open mouth and her eyes widened. When their dishes arrived, they both gazed at the boiled fish drenched in hoisin sauce, ginger and chilli flakes. The white eye of the dead fish had congealed and looked like a bruised pearl. The male momentarily considered proposing marriage. Instead, he took his chopsticks, shook his head and attacked the tender meat below the fish's gullet. So that's the prose poem, Dinner in Zhouzhuang. Zhouzhuang, if I can remember correctly, is in the district or province. It's in the province of Zhouzhuang, which is where I was living for a brief moment in time. I wasn't living there, I was living in a different city within a city by the name of Zhouzhuang. And it was a brilliant time over there in China, really great time. And I got to see many different places, one of them being Zhouzhuang, which is sort of marketed as the Venice of China. There's quite a few of those cities, to be fair, but there are many that have beautiful canals and river boats and little mini bridges and seafood, of course. So that's the poem. Like I say, I probably first wrote that in 2017, maybe 2018. That's when it was first published online. Had another poem that same year published on the same online journal called Head Stuff. I think I'll leave a link to the original. So yeah, that was good having those poems published there. Though they only paid, I think, €4 a pop, and they weren't that keen on. But I mean, I'm grateful to have had the poems up there, and they're still up there. So that was one of them, Dinner in Zhouzhuang, from It's All Gone Don Juan, and on their website, of course. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If you follow me on social media, you'd have seen it online as well. Thanks for all the support, and I hope to do more of these. I hope to get better at the editing, and I'm definitely going to try and make sure they're shorter in the future. So thank you for listening. All the best, as always.